So today we're going to go over how to properly cultivate your energy using Kundalini techniques, what most people are doing, and why it's wrong. I'm also going to go over my own technique and also show another source from a Taoist that confirms that closing the loop, if you're not doing it, you're doing it wrong. And the way that it's taught in Eastern circles concerning energy manipulation and practical ascension.
Out and raise the Kundalini through the spine. And so essentially what we're talking about here, let me put a picture of the Kundalini on. Most Kundalini practitioners will teach you how to bring the Kundalini out and raise the Kundalini through the spine. And I think a lot of people have practiced this. Many people have come on and said they've had Kundalini awakenings. They were very powerful spiritual experiences that they were experiencing. However, in this CIA document, it talks about how practitioners are teaching people how to bring this energy up like a serpent, like on the screen, bring it up and out of the crown chakra. However, in this document, they talk about how it's important to close the loop. And it's the lack of closing that loop that can actually result in actual physical damage to the body.
Right.
Now, what happens when you have all these Kundalini practitioners out there teaching people Kundalini, but they're not closing the loop?
Oh.
They're leaving it open for energy harvesting and feeding.
And manipulation.
And manipulation. Not only that, but it's also putting you in a sicker and sicker and sicker state.
Right.
To where you feel like you need to go back and get another Kundalini session.
Right.
You need to go back and reconnect with these people. You need to go back and you constantly, it almost makes you like dependent on the vampires who are feeding upon you because something isn't right.
Now, what they're talking about, I mean, I don't really have an experience with dealing with energy vampires in that way because I don't really, I'm not really a social person, so I've never been out in those settings. But I can definitely see how not closing the loop will be the worst possible thing for you because it's literally you just throwing your energy out through the top of your head and then letting it go out to whatever, whatever hungry passerby entities are in the area, and you don't want those entities latching on you and waiting for those Kundalini meditations because they always know it's going to be feeding time. Now let's go to another source that's also going to talk about closing the loop. Oh my god, that's loud. Hold up.
Our brain is up. How can they remit? So this picture tells the secret. So our kidney is down, our heart is in the middle, our brain is up. How can they remit?
Lower dantian, which is the kidneys, stomach, intestines area. Middle dantian, which is the heart. Upper dantian, which is the head.
So this picture tells the secret. We do the microcosmos breathing. We call it 真人之息. 真人之息 like immortals breathing. 后升前降 back up and front downward.
Back up, front downward. This picture is supposed to symbolize the spine. The top is supposed to be the head. This is the crown. This is the sacral. Or the dantian. That's what this motif is trying to tell.
So this makes it different than the common people's breathing. You know, common people's breathing, simply inhale, then exhale from the front, in and out, in and out. But 真人, a true man, this is the term in the Taoist practice. Back up, front down. Back up and front down. How make it go? when we're breathing. So this is the role of the water meal. You know, the water meal, a typical water meal, its function is to make the water going up. So here we see a boy and a girl. They are doing this work. And here we see it's like a path, like a seat tower. And here is one. And actually, we have three acupoints. We call it them respectively 维旅观, and here it's 家居观, and here there's 玉枕观. The two high points, respectively, this and here and here. The path means a place is hard to go through. You have to make effort. So make the qi, inner qi, to go up. So these two children, they are working with that. Here actually, when we do the upward inhalation, our buttock muscle, we call 括约肌, there is a compressing, make the inner qi go up. Then the qi coming down for the purpose to, we have the fire, so then we will pour out the fire from the heart. 百病由心生, various disease normally started from the heart. So with this water, kidney water coming down, playing a role to pour out the fire, and also coming down to nurture the land. Let's have another metaphor. In Taoism, we say 炼精化气, 炼精化气, 炼气化神. So 精, 气, 神. Jin represents something very substantial, while Shen like a spirit. You know, spirit is something spiritual, not so much like a substance, like a matter. But with this qi, the energy flow, so we connect actually the lower dantian, middle dantian, upper dantian. So this is the central task of the Taoist practice. Since Shen, like a spirit, we say something spiritual. So here actually we see this is a typical image of a Taoist practitioner, while here it's like a Buddhist. So this is something like a combination of mainly Taoist and also involved with some Buddhist idea. At least the painter of this picture, he believed the combination of Buddhism and Taoism. Of course, in his opinion, Taoism actually top priority than Buddhism. So the Taoist is here, and this represents sort of divine domain. So the names, Ni, Wan, Gong, everything sounds very celestial, holy. And there we see the spleen, we see something like a liver, a gallbladder. This is all about in the 中焦, middle jiao, middle of the triple warmers. And here is the lower dantian, and this is like a stool, and this small tiny sign like pills. So here is a stool. Let's have a metaphor. It's like for cooking, we put woods, there. Then with the woods, then we lit the fire, so the fire burning up, and then it produced the heat. Heat here, it's more relevant, like the spirit. So the wood, the fire, and the heat, the temperature, this makes the life vitality of life.
So basically, completing the loop is finishing that stream of energy from the lower dantian, which would be like the kidneys, the intestines area, bringing that energy into the heart area, when we're talking about going up the spine, by the way, and then into the head, the crown, where the energy will sit for a while. It will ring like a bell, like the old pictures of Jesus and Mary, where they draw a halo around them, and I believe the halo was the vibration that they felt from being in that state of enlightenment. Or the halo would be what somebody actually saw. Or even like the likeness of the sun, which also radiates a life force from its center. So it's all about activating that head and heart vibration, starting from the dantian. And that's the alchemy. Where you go wrong is when you don't close the loop. You're supposed to bring it down the front of the body, like this Taoist said. I'm gonna try to find my own technique. Jeez. Okay, I think I found it. Maybe I shouldn't drag that over. I'll expand it, take a picture of it. Okay, hold on, bear with me. Okay, so this is my meditation technique. I'm not going to go through all of it. This was a whole process that I used to do. This is when I was able to astral project and lucid dream at will. So the vibratory healing. Visualize energy going up the base of the spine, traveling along until it hits the crown of the head, ringing a bell that vibrates a golden halo around the head. As the energy travels back down the front of the head, down to the neck and chest, to the stomach, all the way back down to the navel, or even all the way back down to the root chakra. Or just the root, doesn't need to be a chakra. Where it then goes and meets the base of the spine. Okay, yeah, that was included, yep. Imagine the energy as an orb of light, matching the color of the chakra it is passing through. Now, I don't really follow this. I just stream it up the spine. This is like what I was doing as extra to help the visualization process. It was pretty powerful, but I find it's like, you know, if I have trouble visualizing, it's just like way too much work trying to force it. So I made the process much simpler on myself by not worrying about the colors and then just imagining energy going up the spine. Now, this is with my breath, right? This is with the breath. On my inhales, I'm bringing energy up the spine to the crown. On my exhales, I'm bringing energy down from the crown, down the front of my body, all the way back to the base of my spine once again. That's how I completes the loop. When I do this technique, or did this technique, a variety of things would happen. My head and chest would vibrate fervently, my ears would pop, my jaw would relax, my eyes would move around or look cross-eyed, which is kind of also what happens in REM sleep. My nose itches, I feel very light, as if I'm floating. Many things. Whatever you feel, remember what it was like to be in the moment. So through biofeedback, you can enter that state without having to meditate. So if you're wondering what I mean when I talk about biofeedback, let me pull over this the CIA documents that they were talking about. Okay, so this is straight from the CIA website. It's called Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Process, and it goes over basically meditation and remote viewing and astral projection. Okay, what was I doing? Wow, my entire attention just got zapped from me. I don't even know why I pulled this up now. Okay, yeah, biofeedback. Okay, my bad. So we're gonna look up biofeedback. I assume it's actually really early on, probably like around 5 or 4. Okay, 4. It's biofeedback. The third consciousness altering methodology, which will be briefly described as biofeedback. Biofeedback is somewhat unique in that it actually employs the self-cognitive powers of the left hemisphere to gain access to such areas of the right brain as the lower cerebral, motor, and sensory cortices and distorted pain or pleasure centers. Instead of suppressing the left hemisphere as is done in hypnosis, or largely bypassing it, ignoring it, as is done in transcendental meditation, biofeedback teaches the left hemisphere to first visualize the desired result, and then to recognize the feelings associated with the experience of successful right hemisphere access to the specific lower cerebral cortex pain or pleasure, or other areas in the manner needed to produce the desired result. In other words, you can basically command your body to do whatever you want through biofeedback. If you can visualize and remember the feeling of having done it, you can give commands to the right brain, or either the right brain will give commands to the left brain, and the left brain would carry out those commands. It's like if you wanted to taste strawberries, you could use biofeedback to feel as if you're eating strawberries. And all the senses would be just as real as you can, as you would allow yourself to make them real. And all it starts with is diverging yourself from materialist reality to where you allow yourself to choose the desired reality you wish to experience. It's kind of like breaking that part of yourself that is stuck in reality, so that you can entertain a different reality. You would have to like overpower the logical mind and turn it into your bitch, basically. In this way, the pathways are strengthened and emphasized to such an extent that left brain consciousness is enabled to access appropriate areas in the right brain using a conscious demand mode. This is basically mind over matter. This is actually not that hard to do on smaller scales. Like, you can use it to speed up healing in like different limbs, or send all the blood to one area of the body so that the blood can clot and you don't bleed anymore. That's one of the very easy ones to do. If you get down like the simple fundamentals. It's very much like psionics, I guess you could say. Well, I think I've done the 3 things that I wanted to do. I gave 2 examples of closing the loop, and then included my technique. So this video is pretty much over and done with. A little quick one.